Just
Everybody
cross
gets one,
the bow,
Sean.
man.
Everybody
How do you
gets
think
one.
Lawrence does it, by the way? Do you think it's an email, a phone call? Do you think he has like an assassin take him out?
Fernando?
No, like if he ever has to actually fire Lance. Like, do you think like Lance loves to surf? Do you think like Lawrence hires like a scuba diver with like a
Why does
harpoon
murder
gun?
have to be involved?
I don't know. I'm just like, man, Lawrence looks like he's into some stuff. I don't know.
I mean, he does look like a mob boss. Don't get me wrong.
Right? He is a Bond villain. If you've seen
I did
season
think about
6 of Drive to Survive, episode 1, he is literally a Bond villain.
He's got a helicopter and everything.
Toto even said it's like a Bond villain.
When you asked that, the first thing that came to mind was like they're on a remote cliff and he just gets thrown off the edge. I don't know why that popped into my mind, but that's what I thought.
And speaking of getting the party started,
for the victory lap though. They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I stress overcome, what for? Train under trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Switch gears, we keeping haters in the rear. At the blood, sweat and tears and my goal so near. I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear. And today, we break through. 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 And today, we break through.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 69.
Nice.
Of the Gridiron Podcast. This is going to be a celebratory episode because, as I mentioned, it's episode 69. Nice. And we're going to do that a lot throughout this. Of the Gridiron Podcast. If you're new here, the Gridiron Podcast is equal parts grid, equal parts iron, the only podcast in the world that brings you our two loves at the same time, that being Formula One and football, hence the grid and the iron. I'm Sean Barie, as always, your MC for this evening's events, and joining me as always, the bald behemoth, flexing us down in the land, Cleveland, Ohio. It's NFL.com talent writer, Nick Shook. It's 30 degrees outside in Cleveland, and he's still wearing a cutoff.
No. It was 30 degrees at the Guardians game yesterday. It is a balmy 40 and raining right now in Cleveland.
Oof. You know what? Both Nick and I, if you haven't been able to tell by his cutoff, which used to be a T-shirt, if you can imagine that a T-shirt could contain his giant arms, we're both Kent State Golden Flash alums. Nick, it's spring football practices right now, and Kent State posted a picture of them practicing in the snow. It looked like you guys got a good dusting of snow yesterday. Actually, not even a dusting, like an inch or two down there in Kent.
It started to fall in Cleveland around noon, but it didn't stick.
It was sticking down at Dick Stadium.
Further south got more snow for sure, and they have been as this temperature has fluctuated as it does this time of year. It is fun to study temperature differences and weather differences from year by year. Last year's opening day around the same time of the year, Eclipse Day in fact, was almost 70 degrees. This time, not so much. Also, Kent having spring ball, because of course you have to have spring ball, but without a head coach who is on administrative leave. So interesting situation there.
I saw someone tweet today, they have more faith in Kent State football than they do in the Pittsburgh Pirates, who just couldn't score a run. They did walk off the Cardinals Day. We're not a baseball podcast. We're not a college football podcast. We talk about Formula One. We talk about football. If you'd like to converse with us online, you can find us on Instagram. Check us out on IG at GridironPod. Again, on IG at GridironPod. And then you can also email us. We do love to hear from our loyal listeners. It's a small but mighty bunch, and we appreciate every single one of you. Introduce us to your friends, your family. Like, subscribe, listen. Just help get us out there a little bit more. We do appreciate you guys, working for us as well. And you can email us again at the Gridiron Podcast 3. That's the Gridiron Podcast number 3. Damn those other two. At gmail.com. All right, the pleasantries are out of the way.
Sean, I got to give you a shout out real quick. And it's a nod to one of the people who commented on one of our shorts on YouTube. Complimenting your voice. I'm sitting here listening to it again right now, and frankly, as I've known for over a decade, you have the voice of God. And if you're looking to hire for voiceover work, I got your guy. He's right here.
For real, if I could retire from this local news business and do some voiceover work.
We have a friend who does voiceovers professionally. Maybe you should talk to her.
I don't know if I have the range to do it though. Can I do some squeaky voices? I don't know. Maybe I can do some voice acting as well.
You don't know until you try.
I have started to take over because the voiceover guy at our TV station down here in Tampa retired recently, so I've started to take over all the promos, and I'm not kidding you. I'll be putting my makeup on, getting ready to go out and do my sportscast, and I'll have my IFB in so I can hear all the commercials and everything, and I'll just hear my voice inside my own head. Come on down to the Florida Strawberry Festival. Boys to Men is performing on Thursday. And I try and change my voice for those promos because I don't know if they can tell it's me. I try not. I try to lower it or just widen my range.
Stick around.
And then immediately after that promo, I'm trying to sell you Kias or Hyundais or something. It's I have a sports promo that airs. It's Friday, the Rays host the Angels at 7:05. I'm and it's just literal 3 minutes of my voice. Then it comes out to me on set hi, here I am.
Come on down to the Strawberry Festival where Friday we'll be giving away one free Hyundai. It's the last person standing with their hand on the car. And Saturday, Shaggy headlines the music festival.
My general manager he's I'm not so sure I really want you doing those promos. The sports promo is fine, but I don't really want you hawking cars to people. I get that. I was kind of wondering. At the end of the day, I am a journalist, and I'm telling you to go buy a car. It's a little odd, but hey, I'll do it as long as
come to Penn State.
Come to Penn State. I do have to say though. So we are going to get into the recap from the Japanese Grand Prix again. This is a Formula One podcast. We've gone very far off the rails. Not much NFL news to get into tonight, Nick, because the NFL draft is 11 days away. I don't want to get into the mock draft stuff yet.
Nope.
I don't want to get into today the rumors are, Shedeur Sanders going to Pittsburgh? Let's just, guys, the draft is 11 days away. Can we just get through the first round first and then have all the speculation after?
Yeah, I have a colleague, a former colleague, a good friend of mine, Andrew Siciliano, who posted what I thought was an apt video on Instagram today as he's walking along the beach in Santa Monica. Very picturesque videos that he posts. But he essentially said, everything you're hearing right now, they're lying to you. Do not believe them. It's lying season. It's smokescreen season in the NFL. Don't take it for what it's even worth and wait. Grain of salt with everything right now. You don't know what's going to happen. Get ready for the madness, but the madness will come in a little bit over a week.
I'm not lying to you, though, when I say episode 69.
Nice.
Of the Gridiron Podcast is going to be fun. We're going to get into our Japanese Grand Prix reactions. I don't even want to call it a Grand Prix. It was more of a parade.
It was.
I do have to give a quick shout out to our third co-host, though, Nick. Katie Caldwell. She is not on the podcast with us this week. She has the week off, and it's going to be probably a little while until you see her on here. But Katie, I know you're listening along with us. You're right there with us, and we just want to say that we love you. We're here for you. We support you, and we miss you. So you can come back whenever. And we're here for you. So we know the listeners are as well. So we're with you,
everybody's just, it's a bummer that you're not here for episode 69 because I know that you love this more than anything, Katie.
There's no one who is looking forward to episode 69
more than
more than our Canadian queen, Katie Caldwell.
I will say she's just building the tension for when she gets to show off those new eyebrows.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to that.
We're still waiting to see those eyebrows, Katie. Do something on the IG story or something like that. Here's Katie's eyebrows.
Here's half an eyebrow.
Ooh, she's showing eyebrow. Ooh, scandalous. All right. But Katie, nothing but love, and we'll talk to you and see you soon. All right, so let's get into our Japanese Grand Prix predictions. This race, Nick, what a banger. What an absolute just all-time terrible race. Which is so weird because Suzuka is one of the best tracks, one of the best pure racing tracks on the Formula One calendar. There are so many races during the season which we can just kind of say, okay, this race is going to be chalk, right? It's going to be decided on Saturday. And we'll get into that in a bit. But this was kind of a surprise how terrible it was, wasn't it?
Well, Yeah, because we all love Suzuka, and a lot of drivers, it's their favorite track. I want to say it was Sebastian Vettel's favorite track.
A lot of drivers say it's their favorite track.
And honestly, as somebody who's done a lot of sim racing, it's one of my favorite tracks too. It's just got so much personality to it. There's so many different challenges based on the sector. But I was talking with a buddy who's a big F1 fan yesterday, and he's made a really good point, which is that there needs to be more DRS zones. Like if you're going to encourage overtaking and actual like competitive racing, there needs to be more DRS zones. So not seeing any real racing action, like the finish is what the start was. It essentially mirrored it in the top, I think 7 or 8. The excitement was in qualifying though, and there was a big reason for that, and that's where the surprise comes from, or at least in my opinion, that Max Verstappen set a new track record with his qualifying, and he did it in a way that will be endearing and warm the hearts of sim racing fans, especially those who race in iRacing. He took the iRacing line, which is hug the pit wall as close as you can down the straight to save on time when most drivers didn't do that. That was part of an incredibly aggressive, almost flawless lap that he put down. That was the real excitement. That was the peak of the excitement for the weekend, because the race itself, I mean, at one point, Sean, you even texted me, I did lean forward in my seat briefly when Lando got close to closing within a second of Max, and he never did. It was just a parade.
No. So the race was 53 laps of really boring racing and about not even a lap, one pit lane of intrigue. And that was about it.
Yeah.
So Max Verstappen wins from pole. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri finish out the podium. Nick, out of the starting top 10, there was one position change. One. Isaac Hadjar started 7th, finished 8th, because Lewis Hamilton was behind him in a Ferrari and passed him.
Yeah, that's it.
One position change in the top 10. I will say, it is kind of fun to see Max doing what he's doing in that Red Bull. I want to bring everyone a little bit closer together. Maybe we can do that in a minute after we recap this race a little bit. But like what Max Verstappen did on Saturday shows why he is truly one of the greatest of all time. That lap, that was a goated lap. That lap was insane. And here's the wild part about it. Do you know which sector of the track he was purple in? He had to set the fastest time in. Which sector did he set the fastest time in, Nick?
Was it 3? I think it was 3.
He did not set the fastest time in any sector.
No, because he was green.
He was green, and green.
So you're saying that everybody else had a faster sector time in one of the other sectors, but not in another sector, which speaks to the overall quality of the lap in itself. I think there was only one like apex that he didn't hit perfectly. As I was watching the onboard, I'm like, nailed it, really aggressive and nailed it. I think there was only one where he went slightly wide, and it was just the momentum of the car. It was amazing.
I want to say the McLarens were purple, and by the way, if you're not familiar, purple means fastest. The McLarens were purple in all 3 sectors. I think Oscar had Sector 2, and Lando had Sector 1 and Sector 3. But the McLarens were the fastest car on the track. Just Max didn't make a single mistake. And you saw that. You saw the emotion in his voice and the excitement when he was told, you're P1, an unlikely pole at that, and then goes on to win from pole. To recap the race, basically, McLaren just could not attack Max. It was an entire race where they were close enough the entire time, but just couldn't get close enough to activate the DRS, which you have to be a second within the next car to activate the rear wing DRS. But like the entire race, you're just waiting for McLaren to do something, and they didn't do it. And I don't want to fault them as much as Max was just doing what he does, but also the car couldn't get close enough. And for that, I will fault McLaren. Because when you have 2 cars chasing one, you can team up on them. You can put them on yourselves. You can put them on different strategies. You can pit earlier. If you're Oscar, you pit earlier. And if you're Lando, you pit later than Max. Like, you throw something at the wall because you're not getting it done on track. So whenever you see Max pit, you do the opposite. And you go longer for a couple of laps. Stretch those tires. Then you come in, try and gain track position. At worst, you're right back where you started in second place. Like, there was no risk to it. It was all reward and no risk. And yet McLaren was just like, hey, we're going to try and pass them on track. And if not, we're confident. We're comfortable with a 2-3 finish, which is where they finished. And I'm sorry, but if you're trying to win a driver's championship, you shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think it speaks a little bit of complacency with the car because they have the best car on the grid.
I think they kind of relied that, okay, it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, and it also justifies the point you made in last week's show, which is that the gap is not as wide as or at least I thought it was. So hat tip to you. That's +1 for you. If we're on around the horn and we're going a little dink, 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 a few points to you in that for making that correct point. But I think it was complacency with the car. And it was also, if you look at the qualifying results, Max sets the track record for a single lap at 1 minute 26 seconds .983. Right behind him were McLaren's at 126.995 and 127.027. That's literally 200ths of a second behind him. 100th. Literally 0.012 seconds behind him. So with that thin of a margin and thinking that you have the better car, over the course of an entire race, you think at one point we're going to catch him, and yet they never did, which, like you said, speaks to the not superiority, but the excellence that is within Max Verstappen as an F1 driver.
I'm not going to take anything away from Max because that was a phenomenal weekend, just like A+ effort from him. But I want to bring us back to, and I feel like I've been taking crazy pills here because all season long, both you and Katie, and it's not just you, it's like every F1 media member on Sky Sports, on ESPN, on the race, on like everywhere, kept comparing this McLaren to like a 2023 Red Bull that won all but one race, and kept comparing it to like a 2019 Mercedes, like that this should be finishing miles ahead, and what are they doing? Lando's not getting it done. It's like, guys, I don't think, like, yes, they have the best car. McLaren have the best car. They should win the championship. They probably will win the championship. Will Lando? I don't know, because this is a full 24 race season. We'll see. But it's not that dominant. Like, what did Lando win Australia by? A second in front of Max?
Yeah, because Max was closing in the final laps.
What did Oscar win Australia by? 3 seconds over Lando, and George wasn't that far off from Lando in Australia.
Well, that's because Lando's had no braking. So
yeah, well, no, that was China.
That was in China. That was China.
Yeah. Sorry, I said China. And then in Australia, you had Max finishing 1 second ahead of Lando, finishing 1 second ahead of Oscar. That car is great, but it's not as dominant as everyone thinks it is. And I finally feel a little vindicated because I think everyone's starting to realize that, including McLaren.
I'm going to let
they were a little overconfident in their car as well.
Yeah, but I think it's a one-off. Like, I think I'm going to let you take your victory lap this week, but next week
I'm not trying to take a victory lap. Like, I'm not trying to preach.
It's just inherent. Like there is a bit of a victory lap here, and you've earned it. You deserve it, but it's going to be a temporary one because I think the next track, I think venue mattered a lot with this. And then the next track, we're going to see the superiority of the McLaren car.
I think so too, because we're going to Bahrain. That is an insanely fast track. Yeah, they're going to do very well there. But that brings me to my next question, Nick, because unless you have anything else to say about the Japanese Grand Prix.
I mean, I'd like to tip my cap to Isaac Hadjar for getting into Q3 and finishing P8 in a Racing Bull, which is, by the way, ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, who finished P12, and well ahead of Liam Lawson, who finished 17th.
Hold that thought. You know what? Yeah, let's actually talk about Liam Lawson. That's not in the rundown, but you want to talk about Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda real quick? Because that's where all the eyes were this week.
Yeah.
Like, Yuki Tsunoda comes into Red Bull replacing Liam Lawson after just 2 races. Everyone says, hallelujah, like this is how it should have been from start to finish. He should have gotten the Red Bull seat from the beginning. He deserved it, but Liam Lawson out-qualifies Yuki in a Racing Bull.
Yeah.
Now Yuki finishes ahead of him in the race, but how would you grade this weekend for both of them?
That was weird. It was very tumultuous.
Right?
Yuki smokes him in the first practice, and then
Yuki looked amazing in practice. I will say that looked great in practice.
And I think that he's
right behind Max.
I think we watched him adjust to the car in real time over the course of the weekend, and ultimately you get the result that you anticipate. Which I think if you swap drivers in the same situation, Liam Lawson doesn't finish 12th there. So, and maybe that's biased toward Yuki. I just think Yuki's the better driver, and considering that he was out qualified, I think that we didn't get the result that was a slam dunk in either direction that we'd hoped for, that maybe we billed it as, but it was a minor to relative success for Yuki Tsunoda finishing P12. However, he's going to need to finish higher than that to fully justify this move, even if he continues to finish ahead of Lawson.
It was. I would call this a victory for both of them. Like if we can just say
a push.
That this was, it was a push. It was a net win for both of them because Liam clearly, like, he has the talent. Like, we know he has the talent, and he showed that again. So does Yuki, though. And I mean, as we said last week, the bar was so low that Liam set it at that Yuki, all he had to do was not finish last in qualifying and last in the race, and he did, or crash, and he did. He I think Yuki proved what he could do. He had a better Friday and Saturday, or Friday and first half of Saturday than he did second half of Saturday in qualifying and then the race. But you could see the actual progress both were making. And for Liam, whether that leads back to another Red Bull seat, doubtful. But we've seen where Alex Albon has gone, where Pierre Gasly has gone, like where Carlos Sainz has gone. Like, just because you crash out of Red Bull doesn't mean you crash out of F1. So we'll see where he goes from there on out. But yeah, like I think that's all that I wanted to talk about. It's not.
Yeah, I don't think we have a whole lot to discuss.
It was a net win for both of them. It was a push. Yeah. Japan, snooze fest. It was interesting for a second while Lando and Max were pitting at the same time. Again, kind of a stupid call by McLaren. They did have a faster, pit stop, a full second than Red Bull. Lando and Max come out side by side, and I almost want to say, like, I think Lando was expecting Max to crash into him. I think he had like PTSD or something.
Well, yeah, that was the only
Mexico
highlight of the entire race.
Austria,
pushing him onto the grass and like that was the only moment of intrigue.
Yeah,
and it was like
the entire race,
and then it was gone.
And not only that, were you watching Sky Sports or were you watching F1 TV?
I was watching the ESPN coverage of it, but I watched the cool down room afterward, in which Oscar was like, "That's it, that's all the highlights," and then Lando, like, I think on the radio was like, "Yeah, nothing really happened there."
Yeah, nothing really happened. Everyone's getting on Lando, by the way, because after that, after he went onto the grass, he's like, "Oh, you pushed me onto the grass." I don't think Lando even thought that, but
no, there was no like real
debate. Like, but he has to try. Like, they were throwing everything at the wall at that point. Like, yeah, I gotta at least raise the point. Maybe some steward will be like, "Oh yeah, he did push him on the grass."
Right.
Maybe someone saw something, but like, of course, every driver tattles on everyone. If you think Lando was actually like, "He pushed me," then come on, you don't know what you're talking about there.
No.
That was the only intrigue. Huge snooze fest, which led Ferrari team boss Fred Vasseur to say the season could be a qualifying championship.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, no, Fred, come on. Think about all the intrigue, all the diversity we had last year. That's what we're going to get this year. Australia, first race of the season, an absolute banger. We had the changing conditions from wet to dry to wet again to slightly less wet. Like,
we had
Australia
Lewis winning the sprint in China.
Lewis won the sprint in China. You had a great race in China, which is normally a bad track. And then, yeah, you did have one snooze fest in Japan. But if we dig a little bit deeper, going back to Fred's point, he said, yeah, this is going to be a qualifying championship. If we think about Fred, okay, Lando won from pole in Australia. Oscar won from pole in China. Lewis won from pole in the sprint race, and Max won from pole in Japan. Oh, crap.
So he's kind of right.
Oh, crap. Fred might be onto something. Every single race, sprint or not, has been won from pole this season. What are we thinking, Nick? Is this going to be a qualifying championship?
Well, I thought it was interesting that a lot of the drivers afterward, or at least a few, when the race in Suzuka was done, started to call it like another Monaco, and I was like, no, like it's such a better
Not
track.
Suzuka.
No. And then with that in mind, it's like, well, at least at the front of the grid, every race has been Monaco, but I mean, it's going to evolve. F1 seasons are beautiful because things they evolve.
They change.
Ferrari's going to bring upgrades to the next race. Like, cars get better, drivers get more acclimated to the car, strategy decisions either pay off or doom a team. Like, it's not chalk. This is not the NCAA tournament where the 4-1 seeds make the Final Four. There wasn't chalk in there either, but there is room for intrigue. Let's not say that at this point. Fred, why are we so negative? Fred, you're a negative Nancy. You're the guy. You're the face of the Ferrari turnaround. You're the guy who brought stability to the strategic side, to the pit wall, to this team that had a car that seemed to be improving. Don't kill my dreams right now after 3 races. A lot of ball game left, Fred.
Fred, how about you handle your car first? How about you get a handle on your car first before you start coming for my season, Fred.
It's just
Okay,
defeatist.
Fred?
It's a defeatist mentality.
We do not endorse what Fred has said on episode 69. Nice.
Oh, by the way, Lemon Bendy in the chat
Of the Gridiron
pointing out. Episode 69, nice.
There you go.
Hell
Lemon
yeah.
Bendy. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Nice. I wonder how many nices we can get in there tonight. We can try.
We should do a nice counter. I should do just a ding every time we say nice.
Which we really should. That's going to be a lot of editing, but I have faith in you.
Editing already takes a long time.
I see what Fred's talking about. Like, let me just say this. I see what Fred's talking about. I see what his concerns are. But even after the race, there's going to be some new rules coming to the grid. I think week 9, race 9, with the front flexi wing, which is probably going to hurt McLaren more than anybody else. So I think they might be brought back to the pack even more. But, like, again, you're right. Things change. Rules change. Drivers adapt. Teams adapt. It's a full season. We still have 21 suckers to go. 21 of these suckers to go. Like, this is
Here's
just...
suckers.
This is going to be a long time. We race fully into, like, Thanksgiving, if you're here in the States. For Katie, I don't know when Canadian Thanksgiving is.
They race past Thanksgiving because theirs is in October.
Yeah, they have a weird Thanksgiving where they don't draw, little turkey handprints and stuff like that. And happy Thanksgiving, pilgrims. They don't do all that stuff. It's just kind of like...
I'm John Wayne at the first Thanksgiving.
They're just like, we're Canada. We're doing Thanksgiving in October for some reason.
Speaking of which, total diversion here, digression, whatever you want to say, but I was
Digestion?
Indigestion. I was out for the Tribe home opener, the Guardians home opener yesterday, and I was out with our buddy Christian from Kent State and his group of friends, and one of his friends told me how him and his girlfriend went to a concert at Blossom Music Center in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio last year, and they just started, every time they walked by somebody, they just adopted the, oh, sorry, just Canadian accent the whole time. And I started laughing, and then it's a packed bar, and people are walking by him, and every time they walk by him, even if he doesn't bump into them, he just kept going, I'm so sorry, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but, like, the problem with that is you guys are from Cleveland. People do say sorry.
No, that's more of a Pittsburgh than
nobody's in Pittsburgh.
Oh my God.
Nobody in Pittsburgh says sorry.
I would say most people don't say sorry here either. That's a Canadian thing. But we digest anyway.
I don't know. I think I'd hear sorry in Cleveland more. Go Flashes. I'm so sorry about your Flashes. All right, let's talk a little Aston Martin. And this will probably be the last time we talk about them this season. Because Lance Stroll had an all-time Lance Stroll race. Just an absolute, like, there's a meme where you're tracking the cars on the track, like picture like you're looking at like a Mario Kart, graphic, and there's Lance Stroll's little green dot, like a mile and a half behind everybody. But they are going to become a Honda customer team next year. They're going to have a Honda engine, and they're going to have a new car. They're going to have like all this good stuff going for them, right? They've got what's his face from
Adrian Newey.
Adrian Newey. Thank you. Don't know why I couldn't remember his name there for a split second. Had a brain fart. Yes, Adrian Newey's going there. He hasn't worked on this car yet, but he's full on into 2026. Just the godfather of making Formula One cars. But Honda is like, hey, we want to have a say in the driver lineup. Because right now, you got a former GOAT in Fernando Alonso, and you've got a former... I don't know.
Baby of Lawrence Stroll's offspring, current.
Yeah, but he's not a former baby. Like, what is he?
We're all former babies.
We're all, yeah, I guess we all. Dear Lord, baby Jesus. He is a former. He is a trust fund baby, nepo baby, Lance Stroll. Like, when someone says, "Hey, we want to have a say in the driver lineup," do you think they're talking about kicking out Fernando Alonso?
I'll read the quote to you because I saved it just for this very purpose. So. It was president of Honda Racing, Koji Watanabe, who said, "It is an honor to work together again with Adrian Newey at Aston Martin. We will work together to create a competitive F1 car. The number of seats will be reduced that Honda will provide engines for. However, as for us, we will continue to voice our opinions as Honda in deciding the drivers for 2026 and beyond. Obviously, the team had the final say in deciding which drivers join the team, but the situation will be the same like at Red Bull, where we will have our say." AKA, your days are numbered, Lance, because Honda's coming in, and we're helping building the car, and we're providing power units. And you know what you don't do? You don't manufacture power units.
I don't think his days are numbered at all. I think Fernando Alonso's days are numbered.
And who are they going to go after? Was Yuki going to become an Aston Martin? Is it Yuki and Lance Stroll?
Possibly, or they can pull another Japanese.
I mean, Fernando has not had a good year, so I guess that could be justified.
No, but like I think it's just presumptuous to say that, Lance, your days are numbered. No, they're not. Lawrence Stroll owns Aston Martin. He owns them. And to quote Slapshot, who owns the team? Owns. It's Lawrence Stroll. He owns the team. He is not kicking out his son. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if he would have done it, he would have done it already. Like, if he wanted to do it, he would have done it already. Lance Stroll, his entire freaking career has amounted to like 2 podiums, I think, and 1 pole.
If you're ever going to be serious about being a title contending team, you have to at one point cut loose the dead weight, even if that's your son.
Yeah,
but he is the golden child of his very, very rich father.
I want to know,
the hardest ties to break.
Is Lance Stroll the biggest Nepo baby pay driver in F1 history? Like, there have been a lot of pay drivers.
I mean, we're getting
in
there
F1
now.
History.
We're getting there now because he's been around so long.
There because there's no real
without
reason.
Producing.
No, there's no real reason that you can look at him and go, he is one of the 20 best drivers in the world.
No, he's not. He's not. Like, I don't even know who could be next in line. There's a number of rookies already this year, but like he's getting he's being outdriven by a number of them in better machinery or equal machinery, maybe even worse machinery. He's just not a good driver. He is an okay driver.
It's called the Midwest because every single thing in it is mid. And Lance Stroll is mid. I mean, he's barely mid. He's actually probably not even mid, but like, you know, statistically mid. So it'll be interesting to see what Honda does. I doubt that. I honestly doubt it's going to be Lance Stroll. I think at least while that car is not proven to be a title-winning car, and then Nick, even when it is, you know who Lawrence is going to push to be their number 1 driver. Like, you just know.
I'm telling you, man.
I gotta hand it to. Look, I could say a lot of things about Lawrence Stroll, and I have on this podcast, and I've said a lot of things about Lance Stroll on this podcast. But I gotta hand it to Lawrence for like being loyal to a fault to his kid.
Yeah,
like,
until you actually think that you're going to compete. Like, what would you rather say? Well,
like, can you imagine? Did you ever watch Succession on HBO? Yeah. Imagine if Logan Roy was as loyal to Kendall as Lawrence was to Lance.
To any of the kids.
That show would have been over after 2 episodes.
Yeah, he would have just stepped in and...
Yeah. He'd be like, Dad, I want the company. Okay. Roll end credits.
Yeah.
That's Succession. Done.
That's
Succession, everybody. Like, we don't have to go through all the seasons. We don't have to worry about Shiv and Kendall and Tom. It's just, Dad, I want the company. Okay, son. Cut. Credits. Done. Masterpiece.
Dramatic
Emmy
piano
Awards.
music plays.
That's Aston Martin to a T. So I got to give Lawrence credit to, being loyal to his kid. But, like, hey, buddy, at what point are you a team owner first and a dad second?
That's what I'm saying. And I think if you ever want to actually, like, seriously compete, I can't believe we're actually talking this much about it. But, like, if you ever want to be a serious competitor, you're going to have to cut ties with your kid unless suddenly he's improving. And he's had so much time, he's not going to. It doesn't just magically happen. And until then, we won't take you seriously. You can go get Adrian Newey. You can go get Honda. You can go spend all the money in the world, but you still have this relative dead weight of a driver that is your son, who's a nice guy. But it's not nice doesn't win. Ask Lando.
Dude, why am I catching strays?
You had
31 minutes
one.
into this thing.
You had to get one.
I'm just catching strays.
Everybody
Cross
gets one,
the bow,
Sean.
man.
Everybody
gets one. How do you think
one.
Lawrence does it, by the way? Do you think it's an email, a phone call? Do you think he has like an assassin take him out?
Fernando?
No, like if he ever has to actually fire Lance. Like, do you think, like, Lance loves to surf. Do you think, like, Lawrence hires, like, a scuba diver with, like, a
Why does murder
gun?
have to be involved?
I don't know. I'm just, like, man, Lawrence looks like he's into some stuff. I don't know.
I mean, he does look like a mob boss, don't get me wrong.
Right? He is a Bond villain. If you've seen
I did
season
think about
6 of Drive to Survive, episode 1, he is literally a Bond villain.
He's got a helicopter and everything.
Toto even said it's like a Bond villain.
when you asked that, the first thing that came to mind was like they're on a remote cliff and he just gets thrown off the edge. I don't know why that popped into my mind, but that's what I thought.
It's he's going to do it like that scene in Goodfellas where the guy's going to get made and he opens the door and no one's there. Oh, just done.
Yep. We have another contributor in the chat. This is MickCast22 who says, "Is Stroll a nice guy?" I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
He gets his haircut at like
Supercuts.
If there's anything wrong with Supercuts, Bo Ricks. He goes to Bo Ricks a lot. That's a throwback.
Floyd 66 on Venice Boulevard in LA. They do a better job.
I'm done talking about Aston Martin because they're going to be irrelevant all year long until they actually either change
Let's look
drivers.
forward.
Yeah, no, for real. Let's get into some Bahrain predictions. We are going to Bahrain. Leg 2 of a triple header. We had Japan last week. We're going to Bahrain and then Saudi Arabia.
How did you pronounce that?
Japan.
Ja Rule.
Just trying to shake things up, keep things loose, man. I don't know why you got to call me out on that stuff. I'm trying to get voiceover work, and
Sorry,
you're like just like again, catching strays.
Yeah, that's why you have multiple takes when you're doing voiceover work.
Katie would hype me up. I wish she were here right now.
No, she'd pile on.
Katie was here right now.
No,
wish I was never born.
For episode 69.
Would you like that? Would you like that if I was never born?
Nice.
All right, so we're going to Bahrain. A nice fast track. This has produced really good races over the past couple of years. Like you said, McLaren should be pretty good here. It is a bit worrisome because we have been seeing it's been tough to race and pass this year. Thankfully, we do have some new regulations coming next year, but I think we're going to get back to our regularly scheduled programming this week. I think we're going to have, I'm not saying we're going to have it in Australia again because that would require rain, and I don't know too much about Middle Eastern countries. I don't think it rains there a lot. Just going out on a limb.
I would imagine sand getting blown onto the track is more of a threat than precipitation.
Probably. That being said, let's get into some predictions real quick. We will count down from 3, 2, and 1. Nick, who's on the first step of the podium? By first, I mean third.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification. I'm actually hung up on two things because I think when you talk about getting back to our regularly scheduled programming, I think back to when Max won the race here a couple seasons ago by 30 seconds or something like that? Like it was an absurd gap. That was kind of our regularly scheduled programming until about the middle of last season. So I am a little mystified on who I'm going to pick, and it's going to sound chalky. The other thing I'm hung up on mentally is you called it a nice fast track, and just for clarification, does that count with the nice counter? Because we weren't referring to episode 69.
Nice.
When calling it a nice fast track, but now I've said it so many times that I think it doesn't count. All right, third place. Max is coming off a win. I'm going Max here. P3.
Okay. I'm going to go Kimi Antonelli.
Oh yes, you're on board.
Say,
it didn't work for me.
I'm going to say Kimi's going to get his first podium. He has been probably the most impressive rookie. It's easy to say that though when Mercedes is clearly the second fastest car out there, but he has been really impressive. He hasn't shied away from the moment. So yeah, I'm going to go Kimi Antonelli P3.
I'm thinking about if they are the second fastest car out there. They have had the most consistent performances outside of McLaren in a driver pairing. Yeah, okay. P2, we're going to go... Oh, God, I really want to say Lando. Because it's going to be P2 and P1 McLarens. But I have a weird feeling that this is Lando's race to win, so I'm going to go Oscar Piastri.
P2, I've got Lando Norris.
Oh my, how the turntables.
How the turn have tabled.
Wow.
So go ahead, say your P1.
Wow, P1 is Lando Norris, and I'm just shocked.
P1 is Oscar Piastri.
Goes away from his the pandering that you did a few weeks ago.
I'm glad you brought that up. No, I'm not trying to pander here. I don't know. I have a weird feeling that Oscar is going to get it done this time around. Take the fight back to Lando. because right now Lando's leading the championship. Max is 1 point, has no business being 1 point behind Lando, but is 1 point behind Lando. But I think Oscar's going to kind of take it back to Lando this week, and we're going to truly have like a real title fight on our hands, which we already do. But
God.
I think, I'm going to go with Oscar.
And
then I mean, would probably pick Lando for Saudi Arabia because it's such a fast track.
Yeah.
And Lando's going to be so fast over one lap, and then there's
that eliminates. I thought you were because you were pandering a few weeks ago, and I thought, is he really buying into the fact that we think Oscar's the better driver of the two? And he's just explaining himself away there, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
I will say I am praying for mechanical failure for McLaren, just to open it up for somebody else, like a Kimi Antonelli, like a George Russell, like a Lewis Hamilton, to get into the fight at the top three.
Yeah. Anymore, there's not many mechanical failures in F1, which used to be a
Blow
huge
a
part of the
tire.
sport. I know, right?
It hasn't been a tire hasn't been legitimately blown in a race just because of lack of durability since Baku in 2021.
Remember when Lewis won a race in, I think,
on a blown tire in the final lap? I think that was Silverstone.
Silverstone, yeah. During the COVID year. Yeah. That was wild.
Flopping around.
He's going because he was already
Nothing's
40
funnier
seconds
to watch
ahead
than
of
a
Max.
blown tire on a rim on an F1 car as they're trying to get it
hilarious.
across the finish line. It's just flopping around.
All right, so there's our top three. I don't know where Max is going to finish, but if I want to explain myself more, that second sector of the race, you've got a couple of slower turns, and I think Oscar is better at the slower speed corners than Lando is at this point in the season with this car. So I'll take Oscar to win from pole, probably.
I think probably from pole. Another feather in Fred Vasseur's cap. I think that Oscar has the higher ceiling, and Lando is probably the slightly more reliable one right now. But that gap is closing very quickly. So
it's
I
just
see what
Lando still has him over the one lap, and that can probably win him a championship this season.
Yeah.
A la Fred Vasseur. All right, so there's Bahrain, and we're going to start something new on this podcast, because back in the good old days of Kent State TV2, or was it TV2 KSU? That was the TV station we were a part of back at Kent State University. Nick and I hosted a Friday high school football highlight show. There we go. Getting the golden tape out.
Sean's got one of these too.
I've got about 10 of them down in my storage unit. There's so many. And I kept them all. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I got the Tom Olson Award. I got all that stuff down in my
It's a real award winner
storage.
right there.
Exactly. I remember when I won that award too. I was playing Temple Run on my phone, and I heard them just reading off the qualifications, and at one point someone said something about and he's got the deepest voice. I'm like, what? And they said my name because I wasn't prepared for it. I was like, oh snap. I was like, oh, that's me. I should go up there. But anyway, Nick and I used to have a high school football highlight show every Friday back at Kent State called Friday Football Frenzy. Yeah.
Triple F.
Won Best Collegiate Sportscast our senior year back in 2014. So
National.
in
Bang.
your face. Yeah, National College Media Association. Best Sportscast. Boom.
Right here.
But we used to end those shows because it was a football show, and if you are one of our international listeners, you're not from the States, we would give out helmet stickers, which football coaches will do that to somebody who had a big hit, a good tackle, a nice catch. Just it's like a, how would you describe it, Nick? It's a feel good, award. It's like, hey, you did something good. Here's a sticker.
Yeah,
and
you
put
can
it on
get
your
it. You
helmet.
can get it for a forced fumble and interception, for being the best scout team player that week. You can get it for a number of different things. It's an ambiguous requirements, and their pride stickers is really what they're called. In the fact that you should be proud of your accomplishments and the way that you've helped your team. And we give them out to recognize those who have achieved in one way or another.
Exactly. So if you're one of our international listeners, that is what a helmet sticker is. For our American listeners, they're probably like, we know what helmet stickers are. We watch Michigan and Ohio State, you dumb Fs. So we're going to start giving out helmet stickers because it actually kind of works for this entire podcast, for whether we're talking about football or we're talking about F1, because they also have helmets as well. I don't know why I haven't thought about this until now. So, Nick, just give out a helmet sticker to an F1 driver or to anything. Honestly, it can be whatever you want. We used to actually take a TV2 sticker and slap it on to Nick's gold high school football helmet. It's back there in the corner. You can see it above his number 61 cowbell. We're not going to do that because Nick had to use Goo Gone to get all the adhesive stickiness off that helmet.
Might still be on there, to be honest with you.
If you can look back there, I got an autographed Doug Williams creamsicle helmet, so we're not going to do it on that helmet either.
No, you're not. Absolutely not.
No, we are not. I wore that for Halloween, and I dropped it. I'm like, oh no! So we're not going to ding the Doug Williams helmet. But let's give out helmet stickers, Nick. Metaphorically speaking,
let's
who
not
would your helmet
ding
sticker be?
the Doug. Oh God. Well, I would love to give it to Max for putting down one of the best laps I've ever seen in my life, but I'm going to go to Isaac Hadjar again. We already talked about it earlier, but the fact that he qualified, P7, made it into Q3, finished P8 in a car that is about as competitive, if not better, than the Red Bull itself. I mean, this is a rookie. This is a rookie who spun out and crashed out of his first race on the
formation lap
of his career on the formation lap.
He cried on international TV. In his helmet, and now he has a sticker. Yeah,
you get a sticker because you've done a hell of a job in bouncing back, especially this last week. And honestly, I don't put a lot of stock in most rookies outside of Kimi Antonelli. I'm going to be watching you closer now.
Yeah. Isaac Hadjar has shown he is quick. I'd like you to do me a favor, though, Nick. Read between those lines right there. Read between those lines. Got it?
Yeah.
Get the picture?
No.
You don't know? You over your head, over your incredibly massive bald head?
Yeah.
So when I put up 3 fingers, one of them being the ring and the index finger, what's between those two?
The middle finger.
There you go,
those
buddy.
are the lines. Not the sharp, not the brightest bulb in the bunch. I'll tell you what. Not the sharpest tack.
Apparently, as dull as his bald head.
It's a little shiny. I'd put lotion on it though. It's a matte moisturizer. It takes away some of the shine.
What is your skincare routine? We're getting off track. I'm making you read between the lines, Nick, because you have forced me. I was going to say Isaac Hadjar. Now you have forced me to give my helmet sticker.
You shouldn't have been so polite and let me go first.
Yeah, I know. Well, normally I have to be chivalrous because Katie's here.
Not here. It's dead between us, brother.
So now I have to give my helmet sticker. You're forcing me to give my helmet sticker to Max Verstappen.
Don't even hold a door for me next time I see you. I'm serious. Pure ice between us now.
No, Nick, I'll hold the door for you and just trip you as you walk by.
There it is.
Right as you walk by, like a group of like really good-looking girls, like, haha, look at that dude, he tripped and fell.
I hope I get a bloody nose.
What a goober. Exactly. Your dentures fall out. You get back and be like, hey, ladies, and you're missing 3 of your teeth.
It breaks like it did a year ago. Just have a hole in my face for a month.
Yeah, I got to give my helmet sticker to Max Verstappen. I don't even feel bad about it because I might be a Max Verstappen hater, but I can appreciate greatness when I see it, and that was greatness. We have watched his greatness for the last 4 years, and that greatness has been boring because no other car or driver has been able to contend with him. McLaren has been this year, obviously. What he did, what Max did on Saturday with that lap, just trying to pull out all the stops, what he did to keep McLaren at bay for 53 straight laps. I got to give him a helmet sticker, man. He was perfect. Max Verstappen was perfect this weekend. Not a foot wrong.
I muted myself while typing. I'll say this. He gets a bonus sticker. He gets a bonus sticker on top of the one that you handed him because he did all that in the white Red Bull. Talk about capitalizing on an opportunity just from a pure optics standpoint. And reminded everybody of who he is when everybody was pretty much ready to cast them off as a team, and rightfully so.
I don't think anyone was willing to cast off Max Verstappen, though.
But they were casting off Red Bull, and he said, not so fast, my friend. I'm still in this battle, and now I'm only a point off. I like that. It's a good pick. It just makes me really curious to see. I don't even think I put him on the podium when we talked about this last week, and maybe I did. Maybe he was second, but now you're going to take him seriously again going forward, at least when you're previewing races.
I think I put Lewis, Oscar, and then Lando, and maybe I did. Oh, actually, no. I think I did Max, Lewis. I think I did Max, Oscar, and then Lando, and yeah, I just kind of got the reverse of that. I got. It's okay. I got the podium right, I think, but could have. I'm also done. I think putting any stock into Ferrari. Like you said, I know they're bringing upgrades this week.
This
but
is where we need Katie.
I know. She's our Ferrari fan now because she's such a Lewis homer.
Shambles over the prancing horse.
I know. Like, it's going to be 69 races. Nice. Until
before
Ferrari
they win
wins again.
So you're saying they're going to win one in 3 years?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be that
New
long.
New regs.
Oh, I can't wait. Not much to talk about on the NFL front this week, so we do not have to switch gears. But anything else for the people, Nick?
No, we're pulling this thing into the paddock and calling it a day.
Yeah, sweet. Nice quick pit stop. Thank you so much for joining us along this magical mystery ride that is the Gridiron Podcast. It has been episode 69.
Nice.
Of the Gridiron Podcast, the only podcast in the world that's equal parts grid and iron. We talk about Formula One and football exclusively. And as always, please like, subscribe, listen, share us with your friends, your family, even the annoying neighborhood kid that rides Heelys down the sidewalk and you just want to trip him with a stick because he's annoying. They still make those? I saw someone riding them the other week.
Oh, God.
I think you can I think they do make them, but I think you can mostly get them on like eBay and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I was never allowed to have them.
I was never interested in having them.
We rode some dangerous stuff as kids.
Oh, yeah. You know, we got
I did
rub some dirt on it. The stories of past generations. We didn't put Band-Aids on. We just rubbed some dirt on it.
By the way, I've started watching The Pit on Max. Love that show. About an ER doctor in Pittsburgh, my hometown. So that's kind of cool. But this kid came in with do you know what a floating fracture is, Nick?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. He came in because he fell off a e-scooter, and then I saw a TikTok video, and this ER doctor was like, if you ride an e-scooter, you are an idiot.
I rode one home yesterday.
Oh, so... I know. I've only rode one once, and that was with you in Cleveland, and I was surprised at how fast those things were going. And I'm like, if I put a foot wrong, I'm either in the street or on my face.
Oh, I remember you were going to the game with me and Taylor, and the entire ride over the bridge, you're like,
yeah, dude,
the whole time. We're laughing our asses off behind you because you just look so stiff.
For good reason too. Those things are dangerous. They're dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, eventually the numbers game says eventually I'll suffer an injury, but I've been riding for years and way back to my days in LA. And
Danger might be my middle name.
It's not.
But
it's not.
Okay.
Pipes.
Okay.
Pipes maybe your middle name. But
thanks, Nick.
It's Robert. The answer is Robert.
Okay, Nick. Thanks. Appreciate it. Love you too, bud. This has been episode 69. Nice. Of the Gridiron Podcast. For Katie Caldwell and Nick Shook, I am Sean Barie. We will see you after is it the Bahrain Grand Prix? Or is it Sakir? I think it's just the Bahrain Grand Prix.
It was only Sakir when they had to race there twice. COVID year.
Okay. We'll see you after the Bahrain Grand Prix. One more time. It's been episode 69.
Nice.
As always, live life in the fast lane, folks.
Follow us on Instagram @GridironPod.
And email us at thegridironpodcast3. That's thegridironpodcast3. Damn those other two. @gmail.com.
And youtube.com/@gridironpod. We'll see you next week. So long,
Good night,
everyone.
Canada.